everyone, thank you for joining me here on So Stitch Hex. Today I'm going to be talking about priestesses. So what is a priestess? Well, I feel like different people define it differently. To me, I see a priestess as the leader that's kind of like a mom. They are, I guess I'm talking about a high priestess, but they are invincible. And although they are human and capable of error, I feel like they are the one you go to when you have a problem, because you think they know everything. They don't. But they know how to help you find it. They know how to admit that something went wrong, and they know how to help you move forward. If you're Wiccan, it seems that you would be traditionally a priestess. You would just be a priestess. And then you would be initiated as a high priestess. Well, you are initiated into Wicca, and that's when you become a witch, and that's when you would become a priestess. But once you are initiated as a high priestess, you then would be able to create your own coven. I do not come from a Wiccan path, but I've been initiated into a coven, and I accepted the process of becoming a priestess. In my coven, it is known that when a priestess is needed, a trial will arise and a spot will open, and the energies will just kind of align, I guess. It's kind of like your time to shine. And if you're going to be a priestess, then you will be a priestess. And it's like, I didn't really want to be when I heard that there was going to be an opening, because to me, I don't think I have that teaching ability, because they are teachers. But suddenly things started to align in a specific way, and I accepted practice for being a priestess. And with it, I didn't get the structured study that I wanted, but I felt different energies. For me, there was a spike in energy, and I had more vivid visuals, and I just knew more. And I didn't like it, and I didn't want it to be true, and a lot of it was anyway. It caused a lot of trials, because you do go on trial as a priestess, and the things that have been questioned are my honesty, my integrity. I've had to deal with lots of decay, especially with my plants. All my plants just died immediately. Bugs would just fly into the wards of my apartment and just repeatedly thump against it until they died. People just tell me things, like things I don't want to know. They just decide, yeah, I'm going to tell you this deep, dark secret that's weird. Okay. And that's kind of what would happen. But it opened up the journey for my growth. And as I've gone forward, I've lost my sacred spaces, which I feel in itself is like one of the trials. I've had a literal trial by fire when my apartment burned down. I've lost my sacred spaces, my sacred people. Everything I know has been questioned, and I know that my path involves necromancy. I know it involves curses. I know it involves learning the dark, because without the darkness you can't have the light, and without the ugly you can't know what's beauty, because you have nothing to compare it. It is nothing but normal, with nothing to make it, special. Be a sunflower, versus a rose. How would you know the difference if you could compare the two? I guess one of the things that I found when coming into this is that I knew this was going to happen. Really shortly after this, I approached my friend Natalie, who would be a great priestess, but I don't think she's ever going to choose that path, because that's not really where she's going in her spiritual journey. I approached her and I said that when all this is over, like a phoenix, I'm going to be reborn from the ashes. I will die, and I will not be the same me that I was before. I will not be the same person. I'm going to die as that person and be something completely new, and I don't know if I'm going to like it, and I don't know if I want to change, because I like who I am. And I think as time goes by and more things happen, I become stronger, and I learn more, and I'm structuring my own studies, but I am going through that phase of death and rebirth, this cycle where I turn to ash and everything is gone, and I have to build back from the beginning, starting off like a babe, moving my way up, and it's scary. It's scary, but it's worth it. And if you're a priestess in a non-traditional path, or if you're not in a coven and you are looking for a way to learn, just seek knowledge. What I think the biggest part of this is to, for me, it's been just reading and learning about everyone around me. It's supposed to be about community. It's supposed to be about learning from those around you, talking to the people around you, and I am asking people I don't know for their spiritual paths. I'm talking to strangers and learning things that I can, and I'm reading every book that I can get my hands on. But it's supposed to be about communication through your students, through your teacher, through your coven and your family. But if you are not in a coven, or if you don't know how, I would just say learn more about the environment, the political environment of witchcraft. Learn about the history and the culture. I'm learning about the different cultures of the original paths that a lot of witches travel today, and I'm finding that's really helpful in at least teaching me the things that I want to know. And it's giving me something to look at and something to compare to now, and it shows me the different dynamic and how things have really changed, how we've watered things down, why we watered them down. It's making me ask questions that, as I move forward and as I move into the community, potentially going to this conference, or it'll be digital, but attending this conference that's Witchcraft in the Margins, I look at what can I do to change newer traditions, or to bring old traditions back. What needs to be abandoned and what do we need to change? Like Margot Adler talks about in Drawing Down the Moon, how like there's this part, so much music and so much dance, because there's so much sympathetic magic with dancing to grow the crops tall and high, and so much just feeling the rhythm, experiencing, like one of the articles, or not articles, interviews she includes, talks about how like they used to get high and drink and just lose themselves in the moment with ritual, and we don't really do that. Most covens are like no drugs, and like I get it, we have a lot of people that can't have different substances. Like I particularly can't smoke because it makes me sick, and I already have like breathing problems. Oh, hello. Can you see him? He's inside. You see him? He just walked up on me. It was cute. I liked it. But like I can't have substances. I know a lot of people with other problems who can't, but you know, our ancestors did. Spiritually, they just did. You have lots of people who still do in different paths, but some people look down on it, or they look at it like it's like not as valid, I guess. And it's like incorporating these things into paths and having the option available, being able to be spiritual, make sense, and be under the influence of certain substances. This is something to, you know, bring into account, especially with the potential legalization, or at least testing for medical purposes, of psychic mushrooms. And the P word that I can never ever say, because my tongue just does not like it, so I'm not going to say it. But things like that, things like incorporating more music, and not just contemporary stuff, but making music. No, you don't have to be musically talented to beat a drum. I mean, I'd love if you could play a djembe really good, but if you can't, I mean, music's music. If you're in the ritual space and you're really feeling it, like, music is music. And I feel things like this need to be brought up, and I feel like looking into more of what we're doing as a culture and what we're taking away, what we're forgetting, I think that's important. And I find it funny that some of the really big points of my training and community come at a time when we have to quarantine, when we have to get away from people, when we can't really be in the community space, when we can't really participate in the same ways that we would. And I don't know, I'm finding these things significant and interesting, and they're helping with my studies and my notes, and I'm just glad to, I guess, update you on my practice, on what I'm doing. Also, I love coming to this park when nobody bothers me because it's great. I mean, I've gotten better at not talking, like, at the people. I still look every time someone walks by. Like, I can't help it. I gotta be on the alert. Yeah, I'm a warrior. Warrior priestess. Doo-doo-doo. But I've gotten better, I think, at talking to the camera. Or without the camera. I don't really know. And I love all the critters. Like, you didn't see it in the Vashikaran video, but the bird came back. I don't think I showed it, but he came back and was like, hey, or she. I'm pretty sure it's a she based off the colors. But they came back and were like, hey, and then like left. And one of the takes, I did get a video of them, but after one of the takes, somebody came by really freaking loud. It was like so rude, and that's when I started back over. But he had the lizard, and there's always cute little bugs. And if the spiders stay away from me, like, they're so pretty. It's great. So, yeah. How are your spiritual studies going? Are you learning anything cool? Are you trying to further yourself? What have you done? I've gotten a couple accomplishments in the past few months, like working on my Reiki. And I've gotten a bunch of other little secrets I'll keep to myself. Let me know in the comments below. What are some things you've done spiritually and for your community and for yourself? How are you progressing? What do you see as progress, and how do you define a priestess? Alright. Thank you for joining me here on So Sit Checks. Bye.